in Washington, D.C., where lawmakers are inching closer to buying themselves more time to reach a deal to keep the government funded. A Senate vote is expected today on a short-term spending bill. The House passed the measure yesterday. However, the bigger long-term spending issue remains. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is following this story from us from Capitol Hill. Scott, good to see you, my friend. So, negotiations continue in Congress. What is holding up the bill this time?
Oh, what isn't holding up the bill this time, Vlad? Here's the thing. They're going to vote today to kick the can down the curb to next week, so give themselves more time to negotiate. The issue is what it is almost every time there's one of these standoffs. How much of the money should be spent on domestic programs, things right here in the U.S., and how much to spend on military and foreign affairs? There's always a balancing act between both parties on this. That's exactly what's happening here. A few things became clear overnight. House Republicans likely are to give near zero votes to this spending plan. They're not at the negotiating table, it appears. What's more, they'd like the opportunity to have a little more leverage in this when they take control of the U.S. House January 3rd. So they're very interested in a very short-term deal to give them that leverage early next year. Senate Republicans have become clear that if there's no deal on a longer-term bill by Wednesday, they're out. They'll do only a very short-term plan to kick it into January or February. So the minority party is exercising its muscle right now, and all of this leads to a protracted standoff that will clearly encroach very closely, if not beyond Christmas.
All right, so the committee on January 6th will hold its final public meeting on Monday, Scott, as you know, and they're going to release its final report, which could include criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. That's happening next Wednesday. Who do we know or have we heard might be included in those referrals?
Well, let me give you some confidence and assurance that we've been asking that question approximately every 3 minutes. And so far, the committee has not answered the question. They're obviously keeping their powder dry till Monday because they're trying to make a mark Monday. They want this to be a national event. And to a degree, no matter one's thoughts on this committee or its investigation, this is going to be a seminal moment Monday. This is an unprecedented type of congressional investigation in its breadth and scope and length. They've been at this for 18 months. They have secured hundreds of interviews, tens of thousands of pieces of paper, and been the focal point of nationally televised investigative hearings. So Monday is their valedictory, their final appearance before cameras. We expect them to show some things. There's going to be some audio-visual component, but also the potential for criminal referrals against someone or some people. It's been clear as day from the start. This committee has been focused intently on former President Trump. So we expect his name to be mentioned quite a bit Monday. The only open question is whether he's one of the ones against whom there will be criminal referrals.
All right. We're also learning new details about the man accused of attacking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, with a hammer. What are you learning?
Yeah, at a court hearing yesterday in California, a police investigator testified that David DePape not only said that there is evil in Washington, but told police that he was targeting Nancy Pelosi that day in October and that he was willing and intending to hold her hostage. What's more, according to testimony at a hearing yesterday, the police say DePape also acknowledged he was targeting Hunter Biden, President Biden's son, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and movie star Tom Hanks. We also learned at the hearing from first responders that when they arrived at the Pelosi home that day, that they saw Pelosi and DePape struggling for that hammer DePape allegedly used to break into the house, and that before they could intervene, Pelosi was struck violently in the head and unconscious. Paul Pelosi, for what it's worth, during that hearing yesterday, was here at the Capitol for a ceremony honoring Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the unveiling of her ceremonial congressional portrait. For David DePape, he's back in court on local charges in 2 weeks for arraignment. He's pleaded not guilty, Vlad, to the local charges and to the federal charges, including attempted murder and threats against a federal official.
All right, Scott MacFarlane for us on the Hill. Scott, thank you.